Rob, can I get a roll call, please?
Certainly. Member Moberly?
Here.
Member O'Brien is absent. Member Neiman? Member Neiman?
Bob?
Yes, I'm here, sorry.
Member Murphy?
Here.
Member Lee?
Here.
Member Podliska?
Here.
Chairman Giltner?
Here. All right, first on the agenda is approval of minutes for April 17th. Does anyone have any comments, changes, edits?
All look fine to me.
If not, do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Abstain.
Okay, motion carries. Next on the agenda is approval of final decisions or findings of fact. We have none. Next is receipt of appearances. We have none. Next is receipt of requests, motions, pleadings, or requests to make public comment of a general nature. We have none. So next up is the pre-hearing for V-01-24 for the 5500 South Grant. So if you wanted to step up and state your name and just a summary of the variance.
Yeah, good evening. I'm Jason Oscarup. I'm the Director of Operations for Hinsdale High School, and we're going to talk about Hinsdale Central High School. Through our capital replacement program, we are looking to replace the existing chain link fence that is a 6-foot chain link fence that is on the corner of 55th Street and Madison in front of our football field. In our capital plan and in this application, we are looking to also do future chain link fence south of the grandstand through our capital project. We are only going to change like for like, go with the black vinyl coated fence, just like we did in 2021 when we replaced the grandstands and the fencing right behind the grandstands. At that time, we only did the fencing there. Now we're in our capital project and program that we want to extend the fences out and beautify the campus because those fences are pretty old.
I was gonna say, what's wrong with the current fence?
I'm sorry?
What's wrong with the current fence that's there?
The fence is just old and rusty and bending and different damages from kids jumping it to go inside the stadium.
Probably your kids.
It happens.
Okay, yeah, okay.
So what, roughly, you've done half of that stretch along Madison, and now you're gonna do the other?
Yeah, so from the corner of Madison and 55th, we want to go south up to the bleachers or grandstand that is already completed. And then from
I see.
west to east, we want to do the 55th Street in front of the stadium. And then next year in our capital plan budget, we want to extend the existing other chain link fence south of
Got it.
the grandstands to the end of our property and then across to the water tower.
So right now, it's just this stretch across 55th and a stretch to the grandstands.
Correct.
To the soccer field, which has
That's all chain link
It's all
and we
been
need to
replaced.
adjust that in the future.
But there's like 100 yards of replacement.
but the one going
Yep. exactly.
east-west, that borders the soccer field, that looks like it's been replaced
East, west,
Next year.
on the south end of the property.
on the south end of the football
Yeah, no, that
field.
needs to be replaced also in the
Okay.
near future.
Have we approved variances for parts of the fencing that have already been replaced?
Yes. In
did the salt-
2021, when we replaced the grandstands and that fencing, it went through.
Do we have fencing issues back with the baseball?
I think we did baseball field.
We already replaced all that.
Yeah, we had some.
I think
yeah,
we
but
had
but
That
we already
portion
had
was already
those.
replaced.
So Rob, do you want to comment on that?
Sure, just a point of clarification. So the portion of 6-foot chain link fence behind the grandstands was already replaced. And that was done as part of the approvals that were granted in 21 when the district was before you last. The problem was the approval was so narrowly tailored that I wasn't able to extend them the courtesy of replacing the balance of that chain link fencing as part of this year's capital project and next year's capital project, which would be the south, from the bleachers south.
So are they gonna need to come back
I
next
hope
year?
not.
So what-
Assuming assuming the board approves this variation, they would have 12 months from the date of that final decision to get started on that south run.
Oh, okay, so that's what I was saying.
And that's
We
already
might as well
in
do
our
it. Yeah,
application.
okay. Might as well do it all, yeah.
And the
all right.
materials you're gonna be using for this request, it's the same material for the fencing that we already approved for the other section.
Correct.
Okay.
And is there any, are you putting any fencing where fencing currently doesn't exist?
No,
Okay.
we are just replacing like for like.
It'll all be black coated,
Yep,
just to match the
It'll
ones
be a
that
vinyl
are-
black
have been
coated.
already been replaced.
correct.
Okay.
And is it coating over steel?
Yes. That will help not rust as much as it is right now, because it was a old galvanized.
A very prominent citizen who we, used to be the former chair of this group, requested a gate so he could run around the track. Is that possible? Can we put one up in his honor, or how's that? There's a gate there now, but it's just locked all the time? Is that
So
right?
no, the gate closes at dusk.
Dusk. Okay.
So the gate is open after any sports, school sports ends. That's open until dusk, and then anybody can use the track. It's a community track.
And that's the gate that's on the east side? Is that
Correct, by the ticket booth, not on the Madison Street.
How about on the weekends? Is it get
Same thing.
it's open then?
Yep.
Okay, there you go, Chair.
Thank you, Gary. I appreciate it. As a fellow runner, I bet you do too.
Okay. I walk in Fullersburg, but I know you mentioned using that track, so it's a nice track, so it's.
Unfortunately, no more midnight runs.
No, yeah, don't run at midnight, dusk.
But for purposes of clarity of the record, nothing about being able to run on the track would have affected my vote one way or the other.
Okay, no, that's fair to bring up.
Bob, did you have any other questions, or just while you're,
I
Speaking.
guess what I'd like to hear next month at the final hearing when we actually vote on this is the criteria under your attachment F seemed to me to be addressing the color of the fence and not the height of the fence, to persuade us that you were meeting those criteria. And I think it's important for you to address the standards for variation in terms of the height of the fence, because that's the real issue.
What'd you say, Don?
yeah, I think the way, Rob, you explained it is that the ordinance, that were referenced in the attachment F were referencing all standards, including height.
Correct.
And this is consistent with what has already been approved with the prior variance request?
Yes, and in fairness to the applicant, this fence code isn't very clear. It's a little clunky. So if you look at 912.3I, under protective fences, that was kind of written almost as a carve-out for the school in this case, which I think is part of the reason they included that provision as well as 912.3D and E. But we can focus on making sure that for the public hearing, the application more clearly spells out that the relief is primarily for the location, the height, and the material, more so than the fact that it's vinyl coated.
Right, okay.
Because right now, and to be clear, so right now, that's a corner side yard, right? So a chain link fence wouldn't ordinarily be allowed in the front or corner side yard, so that's one, right? It's 6 foot, and the codes normally limits you to 4, so that's 2. And what was our third? I thought we had 3 total. Oh, I know that he included this. Our code's got a prohibition on welded wire, and I'm thinking maybe the architect that helped put this application together was concerned that we would be viewing chain link as welded wire, and we don't.
Okay. Are there any other questions or anything else you'd like to state?
No.
Any further questions?
No.
Okay, so we'll see you next month for the public hearing.
Sounds good.
Okay,
Thank you for your time.
Thank
Have
you.
a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
all right. Next on the agenda is public hearings. We have none. Anyone have any new business? Any old business? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second?
All those in favor say aye. Any-
I
Any opposed? All right. Meeting's adjourned.